One woman. One mission. When the planet Earth is threatened by extraterrestrial invaders, there's only one person you can call. No, not him. No, not her. No, none of the doctors. There's only one person in Britain you can trust to go toe-to-toe with alien threats. And that person is, of course, Maya. Gender-critical beliefs are a protected characteristic. Forstatter, strap in, your savior is here. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, Bridget Empire, humble and patriotic host of the Empire Statement, why are you worried about alien invaders? Right now, the UK is facing a once-in-a-lifetime cost of living crisis. The pound is falling to unprecedented levels, and millions will soon be suffering from blackouts, freezing to death and starving this winter. And worse still, an undercover communist agent called Liz Truss somehow became the Prime Minister, killed the Queen, and declared war on the IMF and the Bank of England. Shocking, right? I know. I was there. I saw it. The United Kingdom has a lot on its plate right now. We don't have time to worry about space invaders. Well, the crisps or the actual invaders. Both of them. No time. Well, you might have a point. But as a trusted member of the British colonist class, it's my job to stand in solidarity with those most in need during these trying times. No, not homeless people. No, not the starving. No, the most dire people, the most in need in the country. People who get paid to write columns denouncing transgender people, the true victims. The likes of J.K. Rowling, Helen Joyce, and of course, Earth's mightiest hero, Maya Forstatter, have been suffering for far too long, while the people of Great Britain merely have to put up with having to choose between heating and eating this winter. The gender-critical movement, as they prefer to be called since transphobic sounds a little bit too mean, have to suffer through people disagreeing with them on Twitter. I know. Can you imagine? And so, being the loyal columnist that I am, I have been conscripted by my overlords at the Daily Telegraph to fight on the front lines of this particular battleground and hashtag stand with Maya. Yes, people might be dying and going bankrupt right now, but the real fight in the UK is... Hold on. Dan, is this right? Is that it? Sorry, it says here we're angry at a two-dimensional library mascot for children. Did it do something to those children? Is this a Savile situation, an old Prince Andrew? Because I know we have plenty of colleagues here if we could dish the dirt out on him. Where are you going? Don't call HR. So yes, I have been summoned by the sheer force of my love for this country to fight a hideous monster known as Tala the Storyteller. This monstrous creature is a drawing that appears on a library card for children in Hertfordshire, aged 0 to 5, the most evil of ages, and was designed to draw families into such despicable acts as visiting Hertfordshire's 46 libraries, borrowing books, and, God forbid, rhyme time. Yes. As the dark day falls on this country, those starving and broke, just trying to survive power cuts in the dead of winter, will at least be able to stay warm by heating their soul on the ang that the idea of Tala the Storyteller, a bright, vibrant creature designed by local artists, will finally be thwarted by the righteous. And by the righteous, I mean columnists, The Guardian. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I'm smart like that. What about this cartoon mascot could possibly be so bad that a woman of such distinguished quality as Maya Forstatter would have a public meltdown about it? Well, hold on to your anuses, because Tala the Storyteller is non-binary. Still confused? Okay. Let me explain. Let me be your Tala the Storyteller, but not in an evil way. Maya Forstatter was once a contractor for the Centre of Global Development. When her contract for work was up, it was not renewed, which isn't the same thing as firing someone, but Maya took it as such,
particularly because she felt she was being discriminated against for holding gender-critical, read transphobic, views. Now, as it transpires, those beliefs of hers were affecting her ability to do the job, as she was creating a hostile work environment for queer employees of the CGD, but she wasn't fired for this reason, nor was she fired at all. Either way, she brought the CGD into court on this basis and established that her gender-critical beliefs, read again, transphobic beliefs, were a protected characteristic, and therefore not a fireable offence. Not that this would have changed anything, since she wasn't fired, and her behaviour towards trans people certainly would still have been a fireable offence, no matter what beliefs she held. In any case, during this whole kerfuffle, Maya became a hero to the gender-critical movement, an agitator for the most marginalised of groups, people who think trans people are a little bit icky, actually. With defenders as prolific as J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter author and brainworm sufferer. In fact, if you've been unlucky enough to be online for any of the 365 days a year, #IStandWithMaya trends online, this is why. This is why it was trending. Some of the most privileged people in British society are standing in solidarity with someone who didn't automatically get a contract renewed, the most British pursuit possible. Essentially, she was fighting for her right to openly hate marginalised people in their place of work. What a noble cause. It makes you proud to be British. This all happened in the first half of 2021, and a year and change later, apparently sick of not getting enough internet attention for a while, Maya Forstater took to twitter.com, famed home of sanity and reasoned debate, to start a new fight. A fight with a small picture of a non-binary alien on a library card for literal babies, the truest evil in all of Earth. So what happened? Well, a library in Hertfordshire retired its former mascot, Bookstart Bear, and replaced it with Tala. Maya was immediately contacted by a concerned mother who was upset her baby daughter might catch the transgender from Tala, telling Maya that Tala was a trans bear with they-them pronouns. And as we all know, the trans is contagious. It's like the lurgy or cooties, like that way, the most famous diseases on Earth. Of course, this is a strange criticism to make, given that Tala is, 1, not real, they are an entirely fictional character, and in fact, just a drawing, and 2, that this fictional character is an alien, not transgender at all, but an alien. But, and this is important to the transphobic, gender-critical community, if we don't know the configuration of a cartoon's genitals, how can we possibly know if it's safe to have around our children? Let's break this down for those who don't understand just how very important this issue is. Winnie the Pooh. Everyone knows he's a boy. Somewhere in that yellow fur is a giant bear dong. We all know this. Disney confirmed it. It's canon. If you read the original books, Christopher Robin describes Winnie the Pooh's genitals in quite graphic detail. It's fairly disturbing, actually. Now, Peppa Pig. Peppa the Pig has a vagina. This is made clear in the famous Peppa the Pig episode, Peppa Gets Her First Pap Smear. And this is important, because if we didn't know about her pork pussy, we might be tricked into empathising with a transgender piglet cartoon, and that would be simply unacceptable. When Liz Truss was talking about opening up new pork markets, this was not what she meant. Peppa Pig, therefore, clearly has a porcine punani. Sorry, woke moralists, another victory for real women. Next, the Paw Patrol. How many of them hang dong? Well, since the main character in that show is both a dog and a cop, and since all dogs are boys and all cops are bastards, we can obviously conclude that the Paw Patrol is more dong than dog. And no, Dan, what do you mean you're cutting this segment? We didn't even get to talk about Steven Universe's They Them Pussy. Dan? Oh well. Silenced again by the woke media. Getting back to the story, Hitchin Library confirmed on Twitter that Tala isn't trans and is an alien. You would assume then that sex in whatever species Tala is from, an entirely fictional species, we must reiterate, is just different. We have animals on Earth that produce by parthenogenesis, for example, giving birth essentially to clones themselves without having sex beforehand. Who knows what genitals beings have on another planet, where colourful mascots try to encourage infant Terrans to read? Well, you might well ask that. But it's important, goddammit, and Maya Forstater absolutely needs to know, because she knows when she's onto something important. Responding to super serious Twitter commentator Grumblebum, Maya reasoned that since Tala evolved with a recognisable vertebrate body plan, it must reproduce asexually. Of course, there are some vertebrates, some snakes for example, that reproduce asexually. But fair enough, Tala doesn't appear to be a slime mold, but how the fuck would we know? It's a two-dimensional alien drawing. If you want to nitpick about its anatomy, Tala only has 2 dimensions. That's much more of a hindrance to mating than any physiological difference between a human being and a slime mold. Why is Maya so pressed that she can't work out how this children's library card mascot will have sex when it is of age? If you want to get particular about vertebrate body plans, you can, but I don't see her getting this angry when Kurt can go around the galaxy getting intergalactic STDs from every alien under the sun, or when the xenomorph from Alien has a parasitic lifestyle, very unlike what you'd expect from a vertebrate-like body plan. Sure, this alien is a mascot for children, but surely that's exactly why these questions would never ever come up. What child gives a shit about how Tala will fuck when they can, if they want to? And why are gender-critical people so obsessed with how everything fucks that they come screaming bloody murder into every conversation about a cute library mascot to cry about how they can't see its genitals? Why does Maya insist that she needs to know where this fictional alien's parents are? Whether it hatched from an egg, if it had a mama, as she said. Maya insists here she's not obsessing about genitals, but... though. Don't get me wrong. I have been hired today to specifically defend Maya from the woke mob. But I've got to say, this isn't a good look. And this isn't just a Maya thing. It's a very common transphobic talking point to obsess about genitals, to reduce a person down to what's between their legs, whether they mean male, female, or otherwise. Except if you're one of the people that happens to be intersex. Then they'll insist that since you're in the minority, you don't count and can be dismissed. How very telling. This is the reason why I'm trying to step away from using the old term for them. Trans-exclusionary radical feminist, or TERF. Because there's nothing feminist about this analysis. Reducing people to their genitals, biological essentialism, as it is known, is explicitly one of the things feminism has been fighting against for decades. In the UK, our transphobes like to play dress-up as progressives, but their arguments wouldn't sound out of place on Tucker Carlson or even InfoWars. The only difference between them and the far right in the US talking about trans people is that they are held up as the mainstream and use veil of liberalism to justify their distinctively illiberal opinions. Maya Forstater is not a feminist, and I don't think anyone with whose brain breaks the idea of a third gender possibly could be. But this issue goes deeper than the sincerity of Maya and her ilk's supposed liberalism and the feminist facade they put on. In this time of crisis, of struggle, where people are going poor and hungry, these people who claim they have no voice take to mainstream media sources to cry foul of public libraries, one of the few institutions left that give the very people who are struggling the most this year somewhere to learn, somewhere to find community, somewhere to use the internet, to keep warm, and to entertain their kids. I know when I was a child, the library was my absolute favourite place in the world. If my mum had stopped me going there because a mascot on a library card she was never going to see squicked her out, I would have been fucking devastated, and I'm sure these kids would be the same. At this current moment, spending your political capital attacking a much-needed public service after decades of government cuts shutting down libraries all over the country, that's like a little bit evil, if we're being honest. And that's not to say you can't care about more than one thing at a time of crisis. Of course you can. But this, who is this affecting? How many people will it hurt? For there to be a picture of an alien on a library card in one county in England that doesn't explicitly scream dick or pussy at you? There are important things happening right now. Things we need to take care of, things we need to care about, things we need to fight for, and things we need to fight against. There's never been a time as precarious as right now for most people in this country. People are fucking scared. And the fact that you care more about a local library clarifying whether their made-up children's cartoon has an imaginary dick or an imaginary pussy than whether your neighbours are going to be able to afford to pay their bills this year, about whether people are going to be able to afford to eat, about how the elderly people you know and presumably care about will survive in the winter when they're forced to endure multi-hour blackouts. That says a lot about you. And not just your priorities either, but a lack of empathy fundamentally, and how your privilege has blinded you to real material struggle. I promise you, no one dying of hypothermia this winter will think fondly of how you wasted your little political capital trying to do a fucking gender reveal on a 2D children's library drawing. You could have genuinely done something to help. God knows very few of us have the ear of billionaires, But you do. J.K. Rowling alone could throw enough money at this crisis to seriously avert serious harms, disasters even. And instead you're doing what? Playing genital inspectors on a library card in the home counties? Jesus Christ, that's just fucking grim. Now, I do have to toe the party line here, just to keep my job, if nothing else. And I will play fair. So let me say, right now, for the sake of my career here at the Daily Telegraph, that I support Maya's right to openly speculate about the genitals of this fictional alien. British Empire would never kink-shame a fellow columnist. But, Maya, could we maybe please stop attacking libraries and hospitals and charities? You know, places that actually help people. And maybe try, punching up for a change. If you're really concerned about helping women and girls, I know this horrific organization that's been oppressing women and girls for forever. Listen, it's called the Conservative Party of... Dan, when did you cut my microphone? Oh well. Hey, while I have you here, what genitals do you reckon the alien has? All of this moral panicking has got me wondering. Really? Well, I thought you could only use that for making cupcakes. Really? I'm gonna have a very interesting Google later. Shit, are you still here? Pretend you didn't hear that. And once again, thank you for watching.